This is Miss Perino and Madison Schmidt, and Miss Perino is going to be interviewing Madison about her time in class.
Okay, thank you. All right, Madison, could you rate your English class on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being the worst class ever and 10 being the greatest class ever?
I would probably say like an 8.
Okay.
Because
Yeah, go ahead.
I think I like having the new English teacher. I think that's a good change,
Okay.
and I think that was a good choice.
Okay.
And the only thing that I'm kind of still a little bit iffy on is the computers, because they're a little bit like different than what I'm used to in English class.
Okay, well that's exactly what the rest of these questions are going to be about here in a minute. First, give me 3 to 4 words to describe your English class.
Creative, probably high tech with the computers,
Okay.
and it's a little bit busy because we have a lot of things going on, but that's still fun.
Okay, great. All right, so how have you used the computers in the class so far this year? Kind of before the new ones got here, how were you using the computers?
Well, before the new computers came, we had about maybe 6 or 7 computers in the classroom.
Right.
And we had classroom jobs, so kids would be taking notes on the computers or taking pictures and things like that. And we went to the computer lab a couple of times to type essays, but we never really used computers as a class before we got the computers.
Okay. What do you like and dislike about how you've used computers so far?
I like having every student having a computer, because then it's a little bit easier, so it's easier to present our work in that way.
Okay.
But one thing that I kind of don't really like about the computers is that it's a little bit, it's different than I'm used to, because
Okay.
we don't usually use the computers in the classroom. But I do like it. I think it was a good decision.
Okay. What are you anticipating now that there are enough computers for everyone to use their own? What do you think is going to happen in class?
Well, now that everyone has their own computer, we've been using the computers every day.
Okay.
So I think it'll probably stay like that, but I think we'll still do some writing like hand and paper,
Okay.
but mostly with computers.
Okay. What activities or lessons do you think will be better now that everyone has computers? And is there anything you think won't be as good as it is?
Well, I think that will be better is it's easier to, as I said before, it's easier to present our work because
Okay.
it's all in one spot like that.
Okay.
And it's neater, like you can organize it and it looks nice. But one thing that's harder is if you're typing something on a computer,
Right.
I've had this happen, it will delete, and there's been problems with the computers, and that's a little bit harder, and it takes up more time because if something happens,
Okay.
then you have to take the time to fix it. So.
All right. Is there anything else that you find challenging about using computers in the classroom?
Well, I think since I've used Apple computers all my life, so
Okay.
once we start using the PCs, it's a little bit challenging for me because I'm not really used to it because the whole school district has Apple computers. So.
Is there anything in specific that's challenging about using the PCs for you?
Well, they're pretty much the same, but just like little things, like shutting down the computer the first day. I wasn't really sure how to do that, so that kind of took a lot of time for me.
Okay. All right. How do you use computers outside of class?
Outside of class, I have a computer at home,
Okay.
and I usually just use it for like my email and for typing reports and stuff for school, but I don't really use it for a lot of other things.
Okay. All right. When you think about writing, okay, because you mentioned that you've written a couple of essays on the computer. So do you think using a computer makes it easier or harder to write a really good paper? And think about all the stages of writing, the pre-writing and the final draft, the rough draft and the final draft.
Well, when I think about writing, I always think about the rough draft being
Okay.
handwritten, and
Okay.
then maybe the final report being typed because that's a little bit neater and more professional looking.
So how come the rough draft handwritten? What's
Well, I think
helpful for you
for
then?
that, I think it's easier to add stuff. Like you can just put little, like you can just write into it. But with the computer, it could be a little confusing because
Okay.
you wouldn't know what you added and what you didn't add.
Okay. Okay. Any other thoughts about that? About how it's? Do you find you write more or less when you use a computer?
Yeah, I think. Well, the other thing is for younger students, if they don't know how to type, that could be more difficult. But I kind of like writing more because it's quicker and it's easier. You can just take out a paper and a pen and just start writing. With a
Okay.
computer, you have to open the document, and if it gets lost, then that's a problem.
Okay. Okay. So if you had a choice of writing an essay by hand or type or on the computer, which would you choose? You think? If you had to do all the stages, one or the other, which would you choose?
I might choose computer because then when you turn it in, it's kind of a better overall look.
Okay.
But I prefer writing by hand.
Okay. Interesting. You mentioned you have a Mac at home and you're using PCs in the classroom. Is there anything like if you got to make the decision about whether to use a Mac or a PC all the time, which would you choose?
I'd probably choose a Mac because I've used them like forever,
Okay.
so I'm more used to them.
Okay. Okay, great. Do you have any other comments?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, great. All right.
Okay, thank you.
Good. All right. Thanks, Craig.
You're welcome.
Okay, so going back to class, so Mr. Dune, I'll